The AAA gaming industry is destroying itself from the inside out, and I mean properly destroying itself. We're talking about industry legends breaking decades of silence to call out corporate lies, gaming press getting publicly torched in the most brutal way, and executives suggesting ChatGPT therapy for people they just fired. I shit you not. All in the same week that Microsoft laid off 9,000 employees. This isn't just one controversy, this is every part of the gaming ecosystem simultaneously rejecting the toxic corporate culture that's been running the show for so many years. The people who made the games that we actually care about just decided they were done pretending any of this was normal. There's a massive amount to get through here because what's happened over the last few days exposes exactly how rotten this whole system has become, and it's about damn time. First, Raphael Colantonio, he founded Larian Studios and created Dishonored and Prey. He doesn't do drama, he doesn't do Twitter beefs, so when he suddenly posted this about Game Pass, people paid attention. He said, "I'm fed up with all the BS they fed us at first, like don't worry, it doesn't impact your sales," only to admit years later that it actually does. And of course it does, right? Anyone with a functioning brain cell could see that giving games away for practically free would impact the long-term sales. But Xbox spent years telling developers not to worry about it, only to quietly admit later that yeah, actually, it completely destroys your revenue. The guy who made some of the best immersive sims ever just called out a decade of corporate gaslighting. Then we have Chris Avellone, the legend behind Planescape Torment, Fallout New Vegas, decided to go absolutely nuclear on the gaming press. And he said, as for mouthpieces like Jez Corden and Clobril that thrive like remoras on the underbelly of Xbox news, you two can fuck right off, you pathetic shills. But he didn't just rage tweet, he provided the evidence. So he said, for the record and as a showcase of their integrity, both were staunch supporters of various Xbox titles that were clearly in trouble, but then did everything they could to spin and bury any trace of bad news. One example, Avowed. But then he delivered the absolute knockout punch. He said, just tell the truth. Being a mouthpiece won't save you when the rest of the body dies. The guy who wrote some of the most respected RPGs in history just dismantled the entire gaming journalism model in 3 tweets, telling the gaming press just to tell the truth for once. All of this happened within the space of a few hours. The AAA industry is literally at breaking point right now. So what Avellone did there was just expose the entire business model that gaming press runs on, and it's about time that someone with his credibility said it out loud. But he's basically telling the gaming press that corporate bootlicking won't save their jobs when the companies they're shilling for implode. And when one of the most respected RPG writers in history is publicly calling out your entire profession, maybe it's time to reconsider your approach. But while industry legends were torching years of lies and press complicity, Microsoft decided to demonstrate exactly how inhuman corporate culture has become. Brace yourself because this is some peak dystopian madness incoming. So Microsoft fires 9,000 people after they post record profits and revenue. They give their CEO a 63% pay rise to $79 million. You all know the story by now. But then Xbox executive producer Matt Turnbull drops this absolutely unhinged advice for his fired colleagues. He said, ask ChatGPT to act as a career coach and use AI to help with the emotional and cognitive load that comes with job loss. Mate, I'm not joking. He's telling people who just lost their jobs to ask ChatGPT to build them a 30-day plan to regroup and start applying for new roles, to draft friendly messages to old co-workers, to write warm intro messages. And this is the bit that proper broke my brain. Get support for dealing with imposter syndrome after being laid off. The irony is so thick you could cut it with a knife. Unbelievable. Then the Communications Workers of America Union put out a statement saying they're deeply disappointed in Microsoft laying off thousands of workers while the company is prospering. But it gets worse, believe it or not, because while this corporate madness was happening, current industry veterans started describing what it's actually like inside this broken industry. Michael Dowse, the publishing director at Larian, described Microsoft as a giant black hole sucking everything in and spitting out the bones. The guy whose team just made the most successful RPG of all time is calling out the biggest gaming corporation as a creativity destroying void. Then Rami Ismail, founder of Larian Studios and industry consultant, provided the most devastating analysis of Phil Spencer's layoff announcement email. He said that people make the mistake of thinking these letters are written for humans, but they're not. They're written for shareholders, and for them, record numbers, growing verticals, and layoffs are just a non-stop parade of good news. What a feast for them, what a feast. Of course they are, right? Firing people while profits soar is exactly what shareholders want to hear. And then we have John Epler, 18-year BioWare veteran. Put it simply, 18 years in the industry, and I can confidently say this is the grimmest shit has been yet. 18 years at BioWare through EA's worst periods, and this is the worst he's ever seen. Robert Morrison, veteran animator from The Last of Us and God of War, said the industry's problem is too many people in leadership positions have been allowed to fail upwards. Everyone who actually makes the games is starting to say the same things we've all been thinking for years. The truth is finally coming out. But wait, we've got even more madness. So even Microsoft's competitors have started calling them out. So EA Japan's president Sean Noguchi criticized Microsoft's approach, saying that foreign companies have become more inclined to seek short-term results from large-scale investments and change direction to meet shareholders' expectations before enough time has passed. And that's EA, the company that literally invented loot boxes and has killed more studios than most publishers have opened. And when EA thinks you've gone too far with corporate greed, you've officially broken through the bottom of the barrel and started digging. Do you see what's happening here? This isn't just Xbox drama or console war nonsense. That's the entire ecosystem rejecting Microsoft's approach simultaneously. When everyone from RPG Legends to FIFA publishers thinks you're the problem, maybe you're actually the problem. This isn't about business models or market strategy. This is about an entire industry finally admitting what it's become, a disgrace. But here's the thing, this exposure actually creates the perfect opportunity to change, and we're seeing it happen in real time. Clair Obscur Expedition 33 is most people's pick for Game of the Year. It is mine, and it was made by a small studio who just wanted to make something that they'd want to play. Swen Vincke from Larian said it last year at the Game Awards. He basically predicted this entire situation. He said that the Oracle told him that the Game of the Year 2025 would be made by a studio who found the formula. They made their game because they wanted to make a game that they wanted to play themselves. They didn't make it to increase market shares. They didn't treat their developers like numbers on a spreadsheet. They didn't treat their players as users to exploit. And he was right, because while Microsoft was buying studios for $75 billion and then firing everybody, smaller teams were proving you can make great games that people love without the corporate bullshit. And while the corporate machine destroys itself, the indie revolution is happening. Baldur's Gate 3 proved you can make massive RPGs without corporate interference. Clair Obscur is showing what passionate teams can achieve. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, The Altars, brilliant games being made by people who actually care about making games. It's the time of the indie now, it truly is. The time of studios who understand what Swen Vincke said. Put the game and the team first and the revenue will follow. The mask is finally off. The time has truly come. Thanks so much for watching. Please make sure to like, comment and subscribe. It genuinely does me the biggest of favors. Thanks again. I'll see you in the next one.